Good morning and welcome back to another episode on the Coin King channel. I'm down to Crypto TA, and this is Bitcoin. Okay, so we're getting a little bit of a bounce up here. I did make a post on X, as I could see that this was probably going to be a nice little opportunity for some sort of a scalp long or swing long or whatever you want to call it, intraday long. Here for Biddy. It was coming off of the 15-minute time frame as I was looking at it. So we are in a situation where we could potentially put in a head and shoulders right here, just like the other day when we was watching the chart. There was the potential for head and shoulder formation. It looks like it is losing a little bit of steam as it hits these lows in here. I didn't hit the hopium slippers like I was wanting us to do on Friday. That's okay. I actually did forget I had an arrow sitting back here for a stop place, and this was just a liquidity grab because the liquidity, the yellow on the liquidation map was sitting right here. Liquidity map was sitting right here, and I may have just overcalculated or whatever. I do believe that was the case, but either way, losing some steam. I did take a long off of Biddy. I still have one more open, but I did take one. So once we lose this zone right here, we can put a trend line on this. I'm actually drop us over to the 15-minute time frame. Like that. So you got two momentum lines in here. You have the starting momentum line right here, which is going to be the ultimate one to break, and then you have this faster one in here from where momentum shifted up a little bit higher in here. There's also an order block in here as well. So if price comes down, you would want to see it attempt to hold the order block in here. And let's see what I'm looking at here. It's going to be right here. So this is going to be your order block. So you're going to want to see price manage to hold in here if it comes down. Otherwise, you will continue to roll over here in price action. It's going to put you back up under the dynamic cloud. If I turn that on, you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So right here, this is where I could tell. I could see the cloud dropping last night as I was watching it. So I went on X. It was something simple, 15-minute hopium or something like that is all I pretty much said for it. Yeah. Everybody was asleep and nobody really cares, to be honest with you, but that's me saying nice hopium on Bitcoin 15-minute time frame, right? It was about 7:41 right before we started to get this pump in here. So I think people are just really over Bitcoin at this point, but it did manage to work out. You can see here where we got this larger candle right here, how we moved into it to inside bars afterwards. So you can see the selling pressure cooling off right here, because otherwise it would have continued past this candle right here, but it didn't. It stayed within that candle contained. We regained what was the support level for a while. 1, 2, 3, 4, however how many times you want to count this, but we regained that, and then the cloud was dropping, price got above the dynamic cloud, and there it was. So I exited my long position on one of my accounts from here once I could identify the opportunity. It was just a 21% gain. That's I think the position was open from about 107.7. Yeah, so it's only about a 21% gain right there, and you can see where I closed it up here around 110 something in here off of this candle right here. I could see it probably wasn't gonna keep going. So if you were looking to get short, it probably would be your best bet. And then you would be hoping that if it does come down here into this order block here, that it doesn't hold, and you would get the continuation if you didn't take the short from in here anywhere. And then this was your next opportunity right here. Since I'm just getting live, that's going to be it. And then you want to put your stop up here. And like I said, expect for it to continue down into this order block and doesn't hold this order block in here, especially the lows of it, because that, like I said, will put you back underneath the dynamic cloud, and then you have the potential of coming back down here towards these lows. There's something that I was looking at in here on Bitcoin, though, that I did want to share. Let's see. I'll tell you one thing. The solid red and black is killing me. I just cannot do it. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, we got that squeeze going on in here too. It almost looks like it wants to push up one more time. Just, I mean, even if it fails, it just kind of looks like it wants to push up one more time. So you could, before I move forward, all right, okay. Just trying to make sure we're going to fail, because once it loses this white line right here, this momentum line in here, it's also going to lose that 20 SMA. And then we'll be looking for it to drop into here. And then I'm going to look over here on the, yeah, so you'll end up coming back down this trend line right here once again. It really doesn't matter how I draw this. It was broken and then reclaimed. Something I was looking at in here, I may not have it. Okay, so here on the weekly time frame. Okay, so you know that I was looking for price to come. It's an interest zone here at the $100,000. I tweeted on that. I talked about that about over a month ago. That I moved the goalpost down here to 100, and then I actually moved the goalpost again down here. And this is why I was just looking back at the. All right, so first of all, let me minimize that one, this one, and this one right here. So I was looking. I was looking back at these points in time where we did see price action get these get compression here, and got that that break to the downside. What happened in each one of those occasions in here is price did drop down to below the well, we're already below the 20 SMA, but it drops down into standard deviation too. So if I turn on the Bollinger Bands, you'll see what I'm talking about in here. And let me just turn off my drawings. Kind of need that. Kind of don't. All right, so let me turn this back on for a minute. So you can see right here around the 100,000, that's where we have standard deviation 2 at, okay? So what I noticed was each time that we did have the little squeeze in here, we came back down to standard deviation 2 bare minimum. Like we did that every time. So once the 20 SMA was lost, it just increases the probability that you're going to come down here into the 20 SMA. And we have the squeeze in here too, or very low volatility in here. So that's a little bit concerning for me as well, with our cloud starting to rise in here also. So we got a few concerns in here. We honestly do have a few concerns in here. So this would be like our 2021 situation, in my opinion, versus just probably coming down here into the to standard deviation 2, but we'll see how that goes. Okay, so I just want to just being mindful of it, because I can't guarantee that it's going to happen. Just being mindful of it. Okay, so each time it did come down into the come down to standard deviation 2 there. We got the squeeze in here, of course, standard deviation 2. So it didn't do much, but standard deviation 2, it definitely came down into that. So I think that 100,000 and 99,000 is definitely on the table. Somewhere around this momentum line right here is definitely on the table. And then from there, we want to hold, because if not, then that golden pocket, that's just going to mean something worse is on the, is happening. And then we look over here, same situation, a little bit of a squeeze into the standard deviation 2 there, over here, and this is back in 2021. The squeeze in here back to standard deviation 2. So this is just going to be a thing, I believe, that we're going to have to look forward to, okay? And that's going to be a 50% retracement. And again, we can also gauge from this this trend line I have down here along below. You can also gauge where that ends at as well, which looks like it would be that 20 SMA with the head and shoulder formation in here. I did cover the head and shoulders in there also. All right, money flow. It is down here in the yellow. Every time it gets a little bit of a bounce up, that does, pull us out of that yellow, because we still have 3 days on it. But again, that tends to indicate some sort of a bottom so far. That's what the case has been. Every time it got down into yellow, that's what the case has been. And then it'll flip to gray to show us money flowing into the market. So I think if we stick with that yellow, again, it'll probably be somewhere down into here too. So, and then of course still rolling out here on the MACD. So MACD still negative. But we're holding this momentum line in here for now. So we broke one, we're holding this one, and then we'll be looking for price to come down into here and hopefully not have to visit this momentum line in here. Hopefully. All right, so Bitcoin in here. Again, like I said, if you were choosing to get short, you would put your stop loss up here, and then you'd be looking to ride this price action down here to this order block. And then you may want to take some profit right here, just in case price action decides it wants to hold this order block and bounce away. And then if it doesn't, then we'll just roll all the way back over. We'll look back to this box in here to see if we can't hold this as support once again. And if not, maybe down in here somewhere. We have an order block within this weekly level in here also. And those are pretty much be our 2 closest order blocks. All right, so the RSI is on the 50% retracement right now. That's what you see in this little green candle reaction right now, is where we're at the 50% retracement on the RSI. And probably, let me see. No, not on that for sure. So we must be on this. Okay. So we're on the 26 EMA right here. We're below. Of course, we're below the 20 because we broke. So my bad. Yeah. This is your 200 EMA right here in the purple. So everything I'm saying has some confluence. Yeah, but everything I'm saying has some confluence. All right. All right, I'm gonna fast forward and move to Ethereum real quick here, as Bitcoin is looking like it's gonna lose that 26. Okay, so Ethereum basically holding within a wedgie structure right here, which means Bollinger Bands probably are have low volatility or some sort of a squeeze in here. And let me just check and see if that is the case. That is the case. Okay. That is the case. So any breaks below the trend line, you want them to do exactly what it did right here, which was just a quick wick and then a reclaim. Otherwise, we can start to spill over in here. And let me see if there is anything in here special. Nothing's particularly special down there. So yeah, you just want to see a quick wick and then a reclaim in here. Otherwise, we could end up back down here around the 50% retracement level. Solana basically looks the same. You know, you're holding support here from your lower trend line in this wedgie structure in here. It looks a little bit better than Ethereum though. Just hit the 188.83, so just hit the top side of our weekly level in here. And again, I hate to regurgitate it, but if we do see a move down right here, we want to see a quick wick and then a reclaim. Instead of a rollover on the Bollinger Bands, because if that happens, then we can get stuck in here and we can continue to roll down. Then I'll be looking. Actually, you know what? Scratch that. Here for Solana, you can't lose this. You really don't want to lose that. And let me make sure it's Solana that I'm looking at. Yeah, we're gonna want to hold that. At least back down into here, we're gonna want to hold. I think it was Ethereum that I just kind of. Let me see. No, this is still sold. All right. Ethereum. Yeah, we're gonna want to hold in here. Okay, so right here where you see this blue line with the exit right here, this is going to be your 20 SMA here for your monthly time frame. So you're gonna want to hold here for Ethereum, which is also probably why Ethereum is holding up so well right now against Bitcoin. If I'm making sense to you. So if we lose this 20 SMA, we're gonna be in some trouble here for Ethereum. But right now, the posturing to me doesn't suggest that that would be the case. So just gonna look for price action to hold here, and you can see that's 37.25.34 right there. And then back over here for Solana, yeah, it was somewhere down in here because that's where we got the bounce from when we did get that Binance fill right here. It's off that 20 SMA on the monthly time frame also for Solana here. Moving forward, take a look here. All right, so you got BNB has been holding this range in here very well. We've had this on the chart now for a couple of weeks now, I believe, or probably so. These levels in here that we've been watching. So it's been holding in here. It is coiling. It has been coiling within this range right here. And once it manages to get above, like the closure above here and flip this right here where you see in this line that where we keep rejecting underneath, then BNB might be ready to go and come back up in here. So there is still resistance here for BNB. All the listings, you know, Robinhood, Polymarket, Coinbase. Oh my gosh, can you believe Coinbase on the Binance Smart Chain network? Okay, so listed BNB. It could get a move back into here. I'm not going to push for it to do too much more than, let's just say, the top side of this ascending trend line here, maybe even wick it like it did before, but it still will be at resistance against Bitcoin. That's my only thing. And that's something that I was saying about Zcash as well. Like Zcash is still at resistance once it gets to push up. Regardless, it is still at resistance against Bitcoin. It's still at resistance on this chart. And you can't really tell for Binance because this is in discovery here, but when you look at Binance with this Bitcoin pair, you can see the resistance there. And so that's why I'm able to say, hey, this is a topping point for for Bitcoin. BNB, I'm sorry, for BNB. This is a topping point for BNB, which I have said multiple times here. In fact, off of this candle right here is when I first brought it to everyone's attention. All right. Let's see what else we got in here. Right, XRP with a little bit of, no, this is Sui. Right, so I mean, basically looking the same in here, and I haven't really looked at too many other charts. So I'm just gonna stick to the ones that really have my attention, unless somebody asks me about something else. It's just what I'm gonna stick with. Okay, so Sui. I'm still hoping that Sui is going to come down in here to this 194. I would like to pick up right here. I do have a limit order set for it right here. It's I actually have it set for $1.95, and then I have a few more zones in here that I'd be willing to pick it up at, especially if it starts to come back into these bear market territory in here. But yeah, Sui right now has not reclaimed back above this ascending zone in here. This wedgie structure. Okay, and Zcash, like I kept blowing the horn and saying, Zcash is still going to be up against resistance. Even if it comes back up through here, it's still at resistance until it can break that resistance. And that remains the same here when we look back over here at Zcash versus Bitcoin. You know, Zcash gets this Bitcoin pair. Resistance, 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 resistance. Okay, so all I can say is just be safe with it, you know. Be safe with your decision. And this doesn't have to be for field, but right now I can tell you that at this weekly level here at 230.51, this is a very critical level right here for Zcash to hold. If Zcash loses this zone, then the last place it would have to find support is going to be right here. And if it's not holding here, then it's probably going to roll over. It'll be under the cloud, I believe. It might be under the cloud from here, if not here. But let me just look at that and just see where it would be at. Yeah, it would be underneath the cloud. So you want to see a quick reaction and a reclaim back above. So here, you're on the verge of coming into the cloud, which isn't the worst thing, but it definitely shows a momentum change for you here. And then, of course, below the cloud, it's not really the place to be. Yeah, it was so flat back there. There's no sense in me going back over that. Yeah, but it has had a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful run. So here at 230, and then here at this zone in here, which is, we'll just use the weekly level in here and just say 167. Okay, you really want to see it hold here, but if it must, we get to the must, it's going to be right here. Otherwise, we could fulfill this measure move in here for Zcash. And then we have XRP in here, which is doing nothing, basically just still holding the 238.46 level in here for the weekly range. And then we would just be looking forward to get down here about 192, where it has held support at quite a few times. That would be next. For me. So nothing has really changed in here for XRP, and nothing has changed in here for Litecoin. It's still holding this momentum line in here ever since it dropped down here into this ascending trend line, which would have been the bear market lows for it. So nothing going on just yet. Nothing at all. All right. All right, so back over here to Bitcoin, it is managing to hold that 26 EMA right here, and it's hitting the resistance of the 10. MACD is still negative. Let me just say that MACD is still negative. RSI, like I said, it was holding the 50% retracement level in here on the RSI. You can see that there. MACD still negative. I minimize that, and I'm gonna leave these two up right here. In fact, let me switch those around so you can see the 50% bounce right here. I had a little trend line in here that I was looking at. Take that away. All right. While Bitcoin hits that resistance, let's take a look here at USDT dominance. Nothing's really changing here for Tether. Uh, you know, we're in our support resistance zone in here. We're just holding the lower part right now until we break that and possibly, you know. I mean, if it dropped in any further, then I would think that it will hold somewhere around in here. I didn't really care for where it bounced at the last time, so I would really think that somewhere right about here, which isn't far off, that would probably be where it would come to. So maybe Bitcoin can get up there to our hopium slippers and we can dance again. Okay, so we have our ballerina shoes over there. Hopefully, we can dance again. Um, I'm gonna move forward here a little bit. I'm gonna get into gold because this is not going to be a very long stream. All right, so gold here, you know, I've talked about this 10 and this 26 EMA quite a bit because this is what gold tends to respect. Okay, so the 10 and 26. We are trying to push above this 10 right now. We did hold our low here on the video. I did a whole separate video, which is my take 5 video, which is me explaining gold to you in under 5 minutes. And at the time, gold was in here. It was in here. And I explained to you how gold had the potential of getting to the golden pocket first. And if it did break above that golden pocket, then it had a chance to come back up here and revisit the highs in here, which was this high in here, and possibly go higher from there. So it got here and it did do a little bit of an SFP. You can barely tell that it grabbed that liquidity. But one of the things that happened here was the momentum just wasn't there, which means there's probably no new money circulating into gold right now. Okay, it's another video that I'm going to do, so I'm not going to get too much into what I'm seeing in the chart because I am going to do a part 2 on this. But on the video I did on Tuesday, I told you as gold was coming down in here that it would probably come back down here to the trend line in here, and you can see how many times we bounced away from it. 1, 2, 3 in here. And we finally got to where we're trying to get above this 10 EMA in here. And if we manage to do that and we can get above the 26, which is really like the most important one for me, the 26, okay, because it was support before and now it can turn into an area of resistance. Okay, so along with these are not these are not order blocks per se. I mean, they can be, just depends on how you do your order blocks, right? But these are just areas where I notice how I'm not going to get into that either. I need to save all of my energy for my video. But this is what you're looking at. You're looking at flipping this 10 and potentially getting up here to this 26 and flipping this 26. And once you're able to do that, then you will be back above the dynamic cloud in here. So if I turn that on, because right now price is within it, and it did well because it held it. Otherwise, you know, we'd be rolling over and be underneath it. And gold hasn't been underneath the cloud since. I've had a few moments in here. was underneath the cloud in here. This is what we were building up that wedgie structure in here. So each time it did that, it did lose the cloud, and then it had to reclaim. So that could be the situation. I did comb through the gold chart a little bit more going back, and I found some interesting stuff about gold. But this is where we are with gold. This is also in the video about the, when I was talking about the ascending trend line and the 20 SMA in here from your Bollinger Band. Okay, and then this line right here, I just plotted this in here just to see, because we weren't getting any closures below it. So I just plotted a line in here just to kind of watch that and see where potential support was coming in here for gold. And this, of course, would be my, this is my idea of where gold price will come back to. If it does start to lose all of this, it would be that. Right in here on the 15-minute time frame. When I saw this right here, that's when I knew it was probably going to have a stronger potential. That was the first piece of structure that price action got right here. And you can look over here and you can say that. And this wasn't any structure in here. This little attempted V shape wasn't any structure. But you can see how, again, where I drew that line at on the chart, just kind of seeing where price action was expecting. This was the first structural move right here with this double bottom. So that was my clue that gold had the potential of pushing a bit higher from that bounce. Yeah. I even shared this again, so if you didn't know where to get in on gold for the hopium, it was there. I haven't seen anybody else talk about it, so yay me. All right. Bitcoin looks like it's rejecting. All right, we got some green bubbles in here. All right, look at hype. Hype is going pretty good. Take a look at that chart. Look at Fed. This Fed absolutely got slaughtered, so it's nice to see Fed trying to do something. Let me just see this a little bit. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I was seeing someone's post on costs. They were showing the cost versus BTC chart though, and just they were trolling. They had to have been trolling. I'll probably get into that here in a bit just to keep things moving. All right, so Bitcoin seeing a little bit of a reaction here, potentially rejecting from here. Bulls do still have control at the moment, though. If you are here, I do kindly ask that you press the like button. It goes a long way. It inspires me to, I love the chart. The charts have nothing to do with me streaming and sharing my insight into the chart. So with that part, I really would appreciate you hitting the like button and just helping the channel out altogether and making me feel good too. Okay. Something so funny. When I was looking at I think it was Solana's chart. Let me see if this was the one that I was like, yeah, it was Solana's chart. So I'm over here looking at Solana's chart and I'm like, why is everything doing this right here? So if you see this right here, this is what this reminds me of. And part of my drawing, okay? Part of my drawing. But this is what I'm seeing right here. So I'm seeing this here and this here and some sort of a shoe pattern. Sort of like roller skates. This is what I'm seeing on these charts. So the next time I see this rollerblade formation, roller skate formation, maybe it's those roller shoes, you know, those shoes that had the little wheels on the bottom. That's all I'm seeing right here. What a hot mess. But that's what it is for me. I'll never forget it. The last time I saw price action doing this though, it was on the Bitcoin chart, and it was when Bitcoin was really, really doing its rally. It was doing this quite a bit. But it's an inverse. It's an inverse to a descending triangle, right? Because you'll have your flat bottom, but you'll have your highs off to your left of your chart. So when you look left, you're making higher highs, and then you have a flat in here. But it was breaking up every time I was seeing it back then. It wasn't creating these roller skates for sure. It wasn't creating these roller skates, roller shoes, whatever you want to call it. It wasn't doing that. All right, a little bit of a rejection in here. I could have taken that hedge position up here this morning when I saw it. A lot of people aren't up as early as I am because I am up early. I am up. Up feeding my obsession for the chart. Mm. This is, I mean, nobody's really engaging with anything whatsoever. Like, seriously, it sucks. Let's see. Fed is expected to cut rates again on October 29th, yet 65% of Americans say they don't care, and they really don't. Really don't. I don't care, and I really don't. Yeah, I don't care. I just feel like all decisions right now is just tearing everything apart. Tearing everything apart. Companies are. Nvidia is driving me crazy right now. I'm going to take a look at that NVIDIA chart too. It's driving me crazy. Amazon, I just had bought a position into Amazon, a very small position because, in the weekly time frame, I still have some zones I think that price can hit, but I did buy it on the basis of a bullish divergence on the daily time frame. And just things just seem to keep getting worse and worse and worse. Amazon, their layoffs, and NVIDIA being 100% out of China, and just semiconductors starting to not perform as well. AMD, in my opinion, had been doing pretty good. Intel has earnings coming up or whatever. I don't know. Things just kind of suck right now. All right, stop chasing tops and bottoms. All right. Oh boy. Nobody cares about wealth accumulation. Nobody cares about any of it. Okay, so you got accumulation right here, and then you got outflows right here. Like, I don't care anything about ETF outflows, inflows. None of that really changes the price. None of it does. Like this, yeah. If there are outflows, I'm probably more inclined to think the price goes up. If there's inflows, I'm more than likely inclined to think the price is going down. That's how I'm doing it. But none of that just really, it doesn't matter. This exchanges are buying all the time. Oh, really? Say, okay. So we've probably gone at toast and addresses for September. That's a verse. Okay. Anyway, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos says millions of people will be living in space by 2045. I need you to work on the space in your price action, okay? That's what I need. Work on the space in your price action. In your stock price. All right, so all right, Betty. I mean, I at this time I don't see any change in the MACD at all, so it is still going down, regardless of what Bitcoin tries to do in here. So we already broke the first momentum line, just waiting on the break of the second one, and then looking to see if price action can hold within this order block here. And if it doesn't, then just gonna have to look back down here. But right now it is, it has lost steam. It has lost steam from that top. I can put a little trend line underneath it here. I really don't care to. It would basically still line up with momentum line down through here. And drop this one now because that was, yeah. So do it like this. You're a little bit late to the party if you are looking to short, and at this point it will be something like this right here. Or you could kill it with a break back above this trend line right here also, if it comes back up here. You either do it based off of this line right here, or you can do it if price did manage to push and break out right there. And then anywhere in here, let's just say you were scalping it, anywhere in here would be a TP. I was just taking a look back over there at gold. So where it's stalling at again, it's just trying to, it's wrestling with that move, those moving averages that are sitting right in here. So again, like I said, if you did decide you wanted to get short on this, you could cut it if it breaks out. And top side, this is an internal line, or you could just say, hey, it have to take out this pivot right here. But again, that's what it's doing right here. So you can see how it's stalling out right there. In my EMA settings, they run very close, relevant to Bollinger Bands. So I use the this 10 right here. This would be like your standard deviation 1, and it'll be for like both sides. So let's just say like if you, yeah, well, anyway, it's the same as, let's just say, the standard deviation 1. A 10 EMA is. A 26 EMA is relatively close to a 20 SMA. So that would be your basis right there. And then your I want to tell you your 200, but not all the time. So I really just try to stick with the 10 and the 26 over all things. And then this will roll down and meet wherever the standard deviation 1 to the downside will be at. So if I'm just put some noise on the chart here for you, so you can see this is your standard deviation 1 right here in orange right here. So this one is going to run very relevant to that one, and then the 26 EMA is going to run very relevant to your 20 SMA, and then occasionally, but not all the time, the 60 will match up with the standard deviation 1 to the downside. But most of the time, this one right here, just a 10 alone, will rotate down. So if it starts to roll over, because a lot of times you won't see it here in the Bollinger. So a good way of doing it too would be to just turn off the rest of them like that. And hold on. And let's just turn off these two right here, and even the basis in here. You could just use like those two EMAs particularly, and then use your standard deviation 2s and your Bollinger Bands. They'll be more responsive a lot of times. Or if you're somebody that likes to work with crosses, I really just prefer breaking below it. But the cross does give confirmation, because your Bollingers are not going to cross. They do not cross. Nothing crosses on the Bollinger. And then of course your EMAs are not going to give you moving averages above price action. So and I will use the 5 sometimes. Well, you can see what it's hitting. So once it can get above that, then it may, try to swing back up. So, so again, if you're an emotional trader, you probably want to cut it right here with the break above the trend line. If you're not an emotional trader, then you can sit on your hands and just be invalidated, because the invalidation is here. That's the invalidation. The invalidation is not actually price action breaking above this trend line. It's not until it takes out a pivot that it invalidates anything. Hi, genius. How have you been? Oh my gosh, it's been about a couple of days, a week since I've seen you. I heard from you at least. Hope your trading has been good. Yeah, it's been really rough. It really has. I was just sharing in here, like on the weekly time frame. Anytime that Bitcoin price action broke below the 20 SMA following a squeeze, it tends to go down to the standard deviation 2. So it tends to break down further, and that's going to be around that $100,000 level. So it hasn't not ever done that so far when I look back and during my research. So I expect for it to do that, hit the $100,000 level. Just hopefully it doesn't go beyond that. This will be in some trouble. I am doing pretty good. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I'm actually in a Bitcoin long right now. Um, I closed out one of those positions. The other one I just get stopped out of. Just I closed out one on this nice candle right here. And then I have another one open. I almost decided to hedge, but I didn't. I didn't. I just feel like prices have fallen a lot, and I still think that $100,000 is on the table. Just haven't shorted, but I'm doing okay. Mostly invested in stock market right now over anything. I have some limit orders set up on crypto, but those limit orders haven't been hit yet. So that's in the event that we do enter into a bear market. I have some orders set up for some lower targets on some things like Chainlink and SUI. And as bad as this is going to sound, Litecoin, because I actually like Litecoin's charts for the future. For the future. But those three I have some limit orders set up on. And I'm in an NVIDIA position right now, which just bounced off of the 60 EMA. gonna show that chart in a minute. I'm gonna see what Bitcoin is trying to do and the Amazon position. Well, Amazon I actually just bought. It's not leveraged. Nvidia is. All right, so it is back up above that 10 EMA. Just have to see if it invalidates, move to the downside. And I already mentioned the possibility of, I mean, I don't even know what this would measure up to. I'm gonna look at it from the 4-hour time frame, or maybe the 1-hour time frame, just to see if we did validate some sort of a head and shoulder formation. I'll do it from another chart. Oh, no, I'll do it from this one. And jump back over there on that. This would be such an ugly head and shoulder. I just have to do it like this for now until we have an invalidation, until we have a validation point. And I figured it was going to be in sync. It just always is, right? I'm not going to be perfect with it. And I figured it would be in sync with $100,000, something like that. So yeah, if that's the moment. Hmm. Do we have volume? We do not have volume. Not at this point. And that could be because of this little triangular structure in here too. I didn't mean to remove it. To hide it. We do have that liquidity underneath price action too. So it's actually down below here. To that order block that sits in here. There is an order block that sits in here. So you can see the liquidity down in here. 106, 069. That's just below. Yeah, it's about that weekly level right there. And then down here at 104, 348. Have that liquidity there. And I have this set on a 1 week, 24 hours. Let's see. Yeah, not much of a difference at all. So I'll be looking at the same thing. This makes it seem like there's a lot more longs than shorts. This might just take this liquidity right here. It might just do that. And reject. Get an SFP right here. If it does that, I probably will open up see, because I haven't, just for fun. Yeah, let's see what happens right here. It's on the 4-hour time frame. There's some trend lines in here. Yeah, it's probably gonna take that a little bit. This is that what I want. RSI at 58. So if it hits into 60, then it's a relative strength. I'll probably actually enter into a short position if I see a SFP up there. It'll be my first short, everybody. But if it starts to hold in here after it does that, because I can see the resistance up here. After it does that, then it could be more willing to continue up, which isn't a bad thing because I'm holding a long position right now, my second long on it. Let's see. This is the one that I haven't taken any profit off of yet. And then this is the one that I did. No, this is the one I didn't take any profit off of just yet. And then this is the one that I did close out already off of this candle right here. So this is the one that I'm still holding right now. This is eventually going to break down. I still think there's a possibility of taking the liquidity up here. It's just resting on this bearish order block. So if it does, again, I will be inclined to take my first little short position if it does do it. Otherwise, maybe the order block holds. And I know it'll end up breaking down because of this. There's something in here dips. I think Ethereum and Solana are holding up pretty well, and they are. They're looking really good in here so far. They've been pushed higher. So that's Ethereum trying to push in a little bit more. It is going to be battling these lows in here, resistance, and then Solana in here with the roller shoes, roller blades. BNB of course got rejected again right here, but still, like, this is, if it's gonna bounce, then this will be the zone for it to bounce from. Otherwise, maybe it'll revisit this trend line down here, but so far, it still has to get above there. The resistance out here. It wouldn't be much still if it did. Let's just say from there. Let's just say from the current candle. Oh, that's a nice move. It's a nice move. And gold is still sitting up against that 10 EMA. Our Bitcoin is still making a decision over there. So gold is still sitting up against the 10 EMA, which is this white line right here. And typically what I've seen it do, and I'll just go ahead and explain this. I don't even know if I'll get to the video, but whenever it's somewhere in the vicinity of that 10, or even just to say this 20, this 26 right here, it will start to range consolidate with inside. So this is what this is. So if it holds in here and you start to see a few bars get put in right here, it would be typical of of gold for probably a push to the upside. And that's why I have this highlighted in here. So every time gold came into the support of the 26 EMA in here, like so, kind of like how I'm trying to do right now. Anytime it did that, it started to put in inside bars and it would coil before it would make a move up. It did it right here too. Put in a mother bar and a couple of inside bars before it does that push up. And it just repeats the cycle over and over again. So mother bar, inside bars, and then it pushes up, mother bar, inside bars, and then it pushes up. So it just tends to do that repeatedly around the 10 and the 26 EMA ribbon. So if this holds, it may not hold and it won't be able to use that. I mean, this was a good spot right here anyway. Just looking for continuation at this point. If it's going to manage to get back up into here, maybe reject or something like that out of this zone. And it does the same thing at the top, but I just really wanted to look at where it would find support for a continuation up. So it does the same thing at top points too, where you have the mother bar, you have the inside coiling that takes place with a little bit of a breakdown right there. But that's a nice move to see anytime it gets around these two right here. If it starts doing that, you see a mother bar, a couple of inside bars. I do want to see a couple of them though, because there have been some other times in here, maybe like it did it right here too. This would have been a good low before this was the one that actually sent it. So it did do it right here also. And these little smaller pullbacks where it does it there, goes inside, and then you got the little smaller pullbacks through here. And this was the very first one it did right here. Uh-oh, Biddy. And I know we're on Bitcoin. I just can't help but talk about gold again for some reason. I'm not even in gold. I'm not trading gold or anything like that. I want to, but I just haven't. I haven't been able to really. I honestly don't want to move any more cash around, so I just haven't taken it. But I've seen some videos and seen people quote that gold hadn't had a candle drop like that in a day, and I've heard people go back as far as I don't know 10 years, and it's like what are you talking about? Gold does that kind of stuff all the time. Honestly, it does. Maybe not the six, but the last time it did do a 6% drop in a day, It was like 2020 because I mapped it out, and then it took about 3 to 4 years for gold to actually flip that high from that point. I'm gonna jump back on Bitcoin chart if I see anything different because I'm watching it from the other screen too. Just figured I'd talk about this while I'm here. So this was August 11th, 2020. And you see how gold did this 6.32% drop. It had actually been climbing up through here for a few months. Let's see, June, July, August, up until August, just like now, currently, because we've been on that, that last swing up. It's been like 3 months, 2 to 3 months, something like that. So we got this candle drop right here, 6.32% right there. And you'll see that it does this kind of thing right here in the day quite often. But after a rally, after a run like that, though, this is what I really was focusing on right here. Like, how many times has it done it after doing something like this? And this is very similar to price action right now. You can see how it stayed between standard deviation 1 and 2 for quite some time before it finally got that breakdown. And then from there, it didn't manage to flip above here for the next three, just say 3.5. I know it was between 3 to 4. It wasn't exactly 4 years. It was in between that. So just 3 years and something. It took gold a little while before it managed to flip that 896 bars, 1,302 days is how long it took for before gold actually flipped that. You can see it took the liquidity off of it. Took the liquidity off of it again, but it wasn't until here that it actually managed to get above and flip back above that level. And that was here. It was just 2024. Yeah, just 2024. Before getting into around where we are now, where it went through this phase right here. And then you can see how similar it looks to that moment to back then, because it had the sideways range and it got that breakup. How similar it looks to that. Riding in between the standard deviation 1 and 2 since, let's just go from here, August, September. And then of course we know it's October, so 3 months, 2-3 months before this one here. But it's still holding the 20 SMA in here. It lost the 20 SMA back there, and that one that I was showing you back there, 2020. It actually lost the 20 SMA. It's still holding it in here. So maybe it comes back up somewhere around the standard deviation 1 right here. And these lows through here, maybe it rejects there, and then we do finally see a break here. And this will be my target somewhere down in here. Because it has a lot of room, a lot of volatility throughout here. It had it over there too, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's wrong all the way back over there. And that's what's up with gold. And then this, of course, is your NVIDIA right here, bouncing off that 60 EMA right here. I figured it was going to slam right into that yesterday. It started to look pretty decent in here yesterday. I was like, oh, great. It's probably going to flip here, but no, that doesn't happen. It looks like it's going to roll over. It really does look like it's going to roll over. It's going to suck. I would just cut my losses on this one if that's the case. It will be what it is. 180 right now. Let's see what this was in a day. That's a lot more. That was a lot more. I don't hear anybody talking about it because everybody's looking for this rotation from gold into Bitcoin. And of course, Amazon. I did enter in on this Amazon. It definitely has the potential for some lower targets. Worst case scenario for Amazon is going to be down in here for me, 121 to 82, which would be absolutely amazing. And I already hear people saying that's not going to happen. But it did have some bullish divergence in here on the daily. It's between these two lows right here. So you can see right here. Of course, that's going to bring it back up. Anyway, you can see the higher low in here. Higher low there, lower low here. So lower low, higher low, even on volatility. So I took it. You are getting a little bit of bear dip on volatility though, potentially coming in here. So that rejection would make sense. Let's see if we can't make it happen. Gold might be showing some hope through here with its cloud drop. It might be. I don't see anything that suggests the momentum is flipping up just yet, though. Nothing. But it might. It might work out. All right, Bitcoin. So far, it's a chart I need to look at today. I heard some talk on it. And the last time we were streaming too, back on Tuesday, I was talking about Beyond Beat. It did get whacked over the head around that between that $7 to $8 push it managed to do. But on Tuesday, it was just at what, $1? And I was like, it's a meme coin right now. Why not buy some? Because I had to I had to talk the Coin King into buying a little bit. I mean, it was 65 cents when he picked it up. Just a little bit. But SoFi is another big talker right now, so I do want to look at SoFi. But SoFi chart to me didn't look bad. I don't know what all the chatter is about. SoFi chart still looks good. I don't even know what the conversation around SoFi is about. Maybe because I'm looking at a higher time frame and people are too zoomed in. Those lower time frames. Now I can see it. Yeah, SoFi is going to get a push back up, whatever this situation in here was, this little triangle, whatever. I know I'm not on the chart because I'm still on Bitcoin over there. Just waiting on Bitcoin to. I still don't think volume came in. Just, yeah, volume is petty, wetty. Petty, wetty, even after that break. Didn't have any volume there either. Seven. Seven. That's wow. People are so over crypto right now. And that well is so successful with it because of the low liquidity, if anything. That would be it. There's really not any new capital rotating in. Mhm. Fear and greed index is at 29. BNB sitting at the number 4 slot, overtaking XRP and Solana. This is how you know BNB is on this thing right now. Baby BNB, really? 16 days old. Baby BNB. Who is buying this and why? And this is why alt season won't happen, because we're saturated with all these coins, basically meme coins. Baby BNB. All right. Interesting. See what the gainers are. I'm not going to even try to pronounce that, but you can see right here already. This is a hot mess. It's definitely a hot mess. Mm-hmm. At least the most visited makes a lot more sense. I don't know what lab is, but it is actually getting a pump. Bitcoin is still just holding that entry line there, that late entry line. All right, nothing's happening here. Bitcoin is doing nothing right now. Um, I think we've been in our government shutdown now for what, about 22 days? I guess this would be like our second longest time. I'm not really sure, something like that. I think the first time was around over about a month or something. Trump was in office then too. So hopefully we resolve something soon. I did not look at Tesla. I just know that at the time when Tesla stock did get that little push up, I think must have bought some shares or something. Pre-market 424, which for me it's just sitting in the same place. I guess when you come from crypto, the moves in the stock market don't seem like they're a lot when they are. The momentum had been riding out of this one anyway. Tesla's gonna get another pump to the upside. Tesla's gonna end up getting another pump to the upside. That's crazy. The rising structure in here right now. So for me, it really just looks like it's sitting in the same place in here. Like nothing really. You can see this little, looks like an ascending triangle formation right through here. But this entire push right here, it had a lack of momentum in there, probably retail money. And you can see that right here. So decline in RSI. It's sitting in neutral. You're getting a drop up here. So at some point, this is, I mean, this is setting up for another push to the upside, basically. That's it. Still above the 20 SMA in here. Still above the 50 on the RSI. Just sitting in neutral, closer to a spot of where you would push up instead of break down. So I don't know. When people tend to get super bearish on Tesla, get humbled real quick. Let's see how I want to do that. No, I'm gonna do it like this. So far, daily and 4 hour. Not terrible. It's probably where the 20 is sitting at too. It is this trend line right here. So until it actually loses this trend line, it still has some momentum to it. No, it's down below it on the 1 hour. Let's see, back here on the 4. Okay, so it's right there on the 4. And then on the daily, same thing. You're just going sideways in here though. Should probably be. Might need to consider the trend line going up through here instead. No. Maybe that could be a back test back into this trend line right here if it comes down. Pull it off of this one. Be something like 50. Let me drop this. It could be the pullback zone right there if it does. Okay, pre-market it is below it, but none of that's gonna matter. Might be it. Good old Tesla. But the daily does suggest that it gets a move back up. Bitcoin at the moment. I know how to pick a line, don't I? As it is just sitting here holding this line. Let's see what that is. Yeah, baby B and B, please, Queen King, please. No. This is painful. This is totally painful. Um, we are in the London session. Oh, 7:08 now. Yeah, we're still in the London session. This clock is not the same as mine. Zcash is still paused here. Let me take a look at something. I want to see hype since it is trending. Until I haven't been over here. I don't even know how much this matters anymore. It's probably been holding at 50 now. So it has. Turn this off. This actually doesn't look bad. Turn that off. Go daily. Doesn't look bad at all. Maybe it gets into this 40 and rejects slightly just because it would put in a bear div right in here. It would have to really accelerate out, breaking that 20. So there is another line through here. Looks like that's been broken. If I did it like this, at this point, that would have been broken. Trend line break. Which means volatility is probably walking sideways. Bitcoin is getting a little bit of a drop now. I don't know. It's got a wide range of volatility. So it would be more so geared towards the line chart over the candles, but just additional confirmation, I probably would go with the wick to wick instead. Because I could see now if I were to drop it back to the line chart, that would match up with where the 20 is sitting at. But if anything, it gets in here, like I said, rejects, so you're not thinking you're actually getting a break. Probably would reject there. Trying to reclaim. I'm just going to drop these two big lines I have. Yeah, if it does get up here for hype, you would want to see it actually break, or at best maybe a minor retracement, because that would be an E. Typically somewhere around D, you would either pump, but if you extend to an E, you want to see that breakout instead of a rejection. So this would be A, B, C. This is apparently going to be, I'm going to scratch that out of the equation and say D right here. So D, bounce point, and E, you want to see it be able to actually break through. You don't want it to turn into an E, don't put it like that, because the E could be a rejection. And I do think you probably will reject in here. Like it'll look nice, then possibly reject. Be something like the last time when we saw this formation and could tell that it probably would reject or something. So I would be careful with that. If it doesn't blast up through here, could lose something. But that looks good though. That part looks good. That's a little bear div right now though. Had the bullish divergence right here too. Yeah, D. Failure to break could have it roll over. Bitcoin on the momentum line here. Take away. I just want to look back at this one more time, just show you it does have a positive MACD at the moment. So Delta, once again, crossing above the zero line. It tried it back over here. Like I said, A, B, C, right in here. This would more than likely be the D point right here with the bullish divergence underneath it. So you do have some positive signs here for it, for sure. More likely to follow through this time because you didn't have any bull dips through here with this drop. It's 43.51. trend line. Oh yeah, inverse head and shoulder on height. All right, size and relative strength. I still think that first move rejects. This is really painful. So all prices are going up right now. I'm starting to get a few more red bubbles. Bitty. This is absolutely painful, but I'm going to let it play out. See a reason not to. Oh, that's a nice little candle on BTC right there. At least from the screen I'm looking at, it looks nice. See if some volume picked up. Alrighty. Could today possibly be a good day? I doubt it. And just because I doubt it, it probably will be. Okay, Tether's not moving much. It's still holding that support level, so I don't know. I think I might take a BNB position. I'm thinking about it. Especially since it got that little bit of a pullback. I considered it yesterday when I was looking at it again. Just it's still sitting too close to resistance. Thinking about it. At this point, even with my long position, I'm so bored with Bitcoin. I just want it to drop. At this point, that's all I want it to do. It's just drop because it's dragging on right now. with this petty volume. Let's see. Dang, that's sad to hear about Kadena. I just see Cornbrew posted on it, said Kadena Foundation to shut down. Kadena team says it will cease all operations and dissolve due to poor market conditions. The chain will stay online via independent miners and developers, but KDA has crashed 55%. It's interesting. Huh. All right, Kadena. I hope no one here is impacted by Kadena. If you are not financial advice, it's probably better to cut the cord. And there's always something great that can rebuild what you're down on. I have made it my mission to do those kind of things. Like if I'm in something and it just starts to, especially a spot position is what I'm talking about. If I'm in something and I believed in it and I don't know, something crazy just happens. I try to keep whatever capital I can and I put it into something that's probably gonna do better. A lot of times just rolling into something in the stock market to be honest, since there's some A1 companies that can revive that loss. They just take that liquidity. this. Maybe I'll see what that does. Really couldn't tell if it took that liquidity or not. It did. See what that's doing to the rest of the market. A little bit of a pullback there on Ethereum as well as Solana. I just looked at cost chart. The guy who did that tweet yesterday, he had me thinking that cost was just looking like, I mean, compared to where it was, it's not great, but it's not terrible. It's actually where it had been ranging in between anyway, so it didn't really change anything in here. Yeah. While Bitcoin hopefully is taking that tumble while it is. I can't see where it did actually break costs below the this wedge in here. And I think I was looking at this. at some point, and I can see it finally uh, closed below that and back tested and rejected there. But nonetheless, it is holding one of the weekly levels in here at the low, um, 0.048 here. 76 right down here that it has not tapped into just yet. I don't have another level in here unless I have some other stuff down lower for costs, which I may. Never managed to do this. I'm gonna delete this. It's really no longer relevant. Over here. That was a telltale right there. So this is what I'm saying about Hyperliquid too. It has to once it comes up, it has to break this level right here because D is usually a bounce zone. And if you create an E, well, this did because it rejected. So that would have been E rejection and then sell off. So Hyperliquid did bounce from a D down here. And it comes back up. I'm going to see it break through. Otherwise, yeah, that's a bad sign. So I'll watch that on hype. All right, Bitcoin look like it might actually get that roll on over. Yay. I probably just put those others on there myself. That was just a little bit too wide. But A, B, C, D, it comes up. It needs to just absolutely break and not reject. And that was the point where we lost the 50 on the RSI, which can be recovered. But that was the point where we actually dropped below it. So at 48.97 now. We were holding it. This will eventually lead into some sort of a break to the upside. You can see how your Bollinger is turning in. Hopefully it breaks down first. Not that I'm betting against myself, but I do hope that it breaks down first. And try some different elevator music. And you just play the same thing. Oh yeah, while Bitcoin is trading out, this is that post on the Kadena Foundation, and that sucks. That sucks for anybody who's impacted by that. The space is so dead. Good morning, legends. It's my buddy, CJ Bennett. At the real CJ. Follow him. Follow him. Let me just say GM. Bitcoin OGs are selling. Oh boy, since October 15th, long-term holders have offloaded 28,000 BTC more than new holders are adding. Old wallets are cashing out. Okay. This right here. Oh boy. I mean, you can't blame somebody for taking profit, that's for sure. Exactly. That's normal. That's normal. You can't blame somebody for taking profit. Like, people get mad about that. Just mad because you didn't take the profit first, or it didn't reach your level for you to get out or whatever. Like, yeah, take profit. By all means, take profit. Rock Imagine. Looks cool. They've been killing me with these posts right here about Bitcoin price, and then they slap a picture of Trump Jr. Byron, but still the smallest Trump. I think it's reckless to do this, though. It really is. Because no one knows if you knew it was him, nobody knows. You would post a proof that it's actually him. I haven't seen anyone post proof that it's actually him. Just accusations, which are harmful and irresponsible. Wow. Let's just go. Slight rejection. This is unconfirmed. It's just something we're looking at in case the possibility of a head and shoulders does arise out of this. And just hide both of those. I've seen the post where they call it the FU finger or the DNB. All right, this is just slow and painful, and I'm about to call it a wrap. So what I'm looking at right here before I go is if we're getting to move down in here, this is the order block right here. If you did enter in on this position right here, you could be looking to take profit anywhere in here. It doesn't have to be all the way down here to the absolute low. That is where the golden pocket sits if you draw the golden pocket from that low up to here. That is just the lower bounds of the golden pocket, okay? That is what that is. That pairs up with this order block right here and the 50% retracement right here. There's also the dynamic cloud in here. So this isn't the one that I want on my chart, but it's on my chart. So right in here, you can look to see how it reacts around 108.845. Also, look to see how that goes. But if it does drop underneath the what we're looking at here on your RSI, you drop 40 on your RSI, you will be entering relative weakness, and so you probably could see this play all the way through. But again, you could take profit anywhere in there, whatever you want to do. If you did enter in on that painful, very painful short, even if you're entered in up there at the bearish order block, whatever. Yeah, very painful trade to sit in, I would have to say. And hopefully, if you are short and you have not been short or whatever, it continues to roll over for you. I would be looking for it to get extremely oversold. And then I'll be looking for it to come back into neutral to take another long position. I do still have my one open, so none of it really matters to me. At this point, it doesn't really matter to anybody else. So, I mean, whatever the market does, it does. I was, for the first time, willing to take an actual short. I really was. I thought about it here when I took profit off my first one, and then I thought about it again if it did come up here in SFP on that, but it didn't get up there. So, all right. Let's see right now. All right, so that just tapped into the dynamic cloud. You can see how it reacted off of the highs along with that dynamic cloud. Let me I'm gonna take this one off since I did it in a way that I actually like it. I just want it to be without the other stuff. So you can see right there what I was just saying, that you could do a TP right there, 108.845, And then of course, if it breaks through here, a TP anywhere in here, you could TP anywhere in here. And if it loses the bottom side right here, then hell, we back up under the cloud and there's no telling what'll happen. All right. Ultimately, I do think that we get down to 100,000. I do think that that could play out. It has every other time. I'm not gonna treat it like it'll do something different this time. So that's what I think. We're probably finally picking up some volume too. So now we're getting into below 40. That's what that is. The lighter red means that you be breaking below. You be breaking into relative weakness. That's what that means. What was I about to look at? Let me see if volume picked up. Nah, somewhat, not necessarily. Allow this to finish out, and then I'm going to call it a day. If you are still here, please hit the like button. It goes a long way. It motivates me. It really does. It's nice when people actually appreciate you for coming on and taking your time. I love reading the chart, so I'm going to do that regardless. It's just, I give my time to something else, and I try to be helpful. So please hit the like button. Trying to get the subscriber count up as well. So if you're not subscribed and you want to subscribe, you don't have to, but I really would appreciate the like button. I do want to get the subscriber count up to at least 2,000 right about now. So very small margin, very small number. I'm not greedy. Start somewhere. Start somewhere. Let's see. And I don't even try to get greedy anymore. I did that pump that we got on Tuesday. I did get greedy. I had the hopium slippers up there. Like, I'm just gonna hold it until we get there. I could see it starting to fade out, and I still held it. So yeah, that's why I started. Well, I did take profit on another account that I have. That's why I started doing it on 2 accounts, so I can stop being as greedy. So if I close it out on one and I know I took profit somewhere, then I leave the other one open just to see if it works out. And if it doesn't, that's my sports trading account, whichever one that wants to be. It's like the one that I still have open right now. That's my that's the fish I might throw back into the water. And I was adamant about, okay, I'm gonna take profit right here. This big candle right here, I had my stop loss set right here anyway, like just below this low. And then when I saw that pump, I was like, oh, heck yeah. Let me go ahead and close out one. Because Blowfin lets you do this sub account thing, so you can have as many sub accounts that you want to have. I'm guessing you can have as many as you want to have. I have 2 sub accounts. one main account. That's a little over 2 to, no, that's a 1-to-1. I haven't done this in so long. I really don't even remember how I do it. The other way around. That's up there somewhere. And this is in here somewhere. It's something like this. It's not perfect. So yeah, that was like a 1-to-1. And then a 2-to-1 would be around this 50% retracement, and then a 3-to-1 if it came down to the golden pocket. That's what I always shoot for. 3-to-1. I need to start back using that because that, yeah, I need to start back using that. Bears are in control, ever so slightly. I can see what else is bouncing off right here, along with I want to say these highs in here, along with the highs in here, really below those highs, to be honest. So I'm just going to say, along with this dynamic cloud right here, I'm going to take that away. Hold on, what did I take away? I can take that away. And if you got in, let's just say you were somebody that did it from the order block, maybe you didn't catch the absolute top part of the order block. You came in, you already did at least a 3-to-1. But so I don't throw too much stuff on the chart for you. That's also the tool with that 200 EMA sitting right there. So yeah, holding above that cloud, that would be good for you. If you're long, dropping below would be good for you if you're short. If you're short, using that 200 EMA. And if we get it, only if we get it, if we we really have to get oversold for me. Like if we come down, I don't know, 2018 or something like that, and then we come back up, I'll be looking to get in to another long. I'll see where we at in terms of support first to make that decision, but then I could just wait for it to break back into there, something like that. 40, because I like that. It usually leads into a pump. It's still rolling over right now. Once it flattens out, it usually leads into a pump. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you remember me telling you this. I can see what it's doing right here, but like right here, like you see how the Bollinger, which is gonna be this gray and this purple right here. Whenever um, the 20 drops outside of that, it will push back in for some sort of a bounce. So I told you to put that, like, just put that on your chart. Put that over on top of that indicator right there, because every time you break down below it, you are going to come back into it. So if you were a scalper or something like that, you could look for things like that, and it really gives you a fast signal in here too. It doesn't always work out, but you can see it's going to pull you back in, like right here. It pulls you back in, pulls price action back in. Right here, right there. I don't usually um, play with it a lot. Like you can see, like right here, it's very temporary, right in there. Then you can look for weak highs. So if you see price action doing what it did in here, like that, but you never see any sort of an expansion, like because usually when you make a higher high, you would see the Bollinger expand too. You don't see that happening here. So just that simple break right there, or with your this is where I got greedy at Tuesday and then TP. I did not TP. I can see it rolling over. You can see from this large candle right here how the candles start to do this right here. They start to squeeze. Like I always look for that too. Like that's a nice little telltale sign. We did it ever so slightly right here. The candles start to get smaller and smaller and go sideways. That's a sign of exhaustion right there. You usually get some sort of a bounce whenever you break below it from the scalpers. like right here. If you'd have done it, you would not have been expecting for it to break that candle because they usually go to an inside candle. So you would have just jumped in with a stop right here, right at that candle. Something like that, because it should not it should go from a mother bar to an inside like that. And when you scalping, you have tight stops anyway. Let me go. But resistance is still going to be in here now. Do got a order block too. But resistance is like right through here. That should be a resistance line. But you got a new order, bearish order block off of that candle right there since it did break price action below here, close below here. So this part right here. And it's also your new pivot. So I'm just going to put it on this now. This was the last momentum line to break, so I'm just going to use this for here now. See what that did for the rest of the market. Solana rebounded really good. Gold still holding inside that candle, but it is rejecting a little bit more. More red in the market on bubbles. MACD's still rolling out too. So declining as well. All right, so I'm going to leave you with that. This should hold as resistance. If it doesn't, then something had to have changed, but it should hold as resistance right here. And if you do just say lose around where price bounced at right here, that'll put you under, start closing below that anyway, that'll put you under the 20 SMA, put you deeper into the cloud. Then in here, if you lose this golden pocket right here, really just slightly before this golden pocket at this bullish order block right here, if you don't manage to hold price action at this bullish order block right here, start closing underneath this golden pocket and probably going to come down a lot lower. That would be rather bearish before that next bounce anyway. So we probably just continue to hold the range, what we've been doing in here, I guess throughout here. So order block right here, this side of my weekly level. You have, let me make sure I got it on the right one. Yeah. You have a bullish order block right here. Just say price action decided want to come in and take the liquidity from this double bottom, these two lows right here, tweezer bottom, whatever you want to call it. If it decides it wants to come in and take that, then I would look for it to drop into this weekly level in here to this order block, which is going to be your second candle to your left from that large one right here. Be looking for a bounce from that. Going for that sweep off the liquidity sweep right here. Put that color in. All right. I appreciate you. Make sure you did hit the like button. Love you, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you again so much. Thank you.